Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to this side of me, and if you're new here, my name is Sarah and I make videos about chronic illness, disabilities and mental health. So today's video is going to be the chronic illness tag. I haven't really seen many of these around, if I'm honest. So I've basically just picked out some of the questions that I've seen from previous tags and kind of smushed them all together to create this video. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, smash that thumbs up button if you want to see more from me, and let's get cracking. So the first question is, which illnesses do you have? So I've been formally diagnosed with nail patella syndrome, fibromyalgia, costochondritis and clubfoot. I think that's it for now. When were you diagnosed? So I was diagnosed with nail patella syndrome before I was even born because it's genetic. If you haven't seen my previous video about that, then I will link it down below. I'll put it up here somewhere. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in April 2016, and then I was diagnosed with costochondritis. I think I was diagnosed with costochondritis in the November of 2016. I think that was correct. And then clubfoot I was diagnosed when I was born. Have you ever been hospitalised? So technically no, because I've been to A&E quite a few times for different reasons relating to my health, but I've never been required to stay in, and touch wood, it stays that way. I was recently in A&E for suspected gallstones or a gallbladder attack. I actually got diagnosed with costochondritis the day after I ended up in hospital with chest pains. I actually rang 999 because I was living on my own at the time and I thought I was having a heart attack. That was the gist of it. I couldn't breathe, my arm was going dead, and I was just struggling with intense pain. So I rang 999 and they took me into A&E via ambulance. And to be honest, it was so scary having to do that all on my own, but I managed it. So yeah, they ruled out heart attack pretty quickly, but they still wanted to see me in the hospital because they couldn't understand what was going on and they could see that I was in quite a lot of pain. So I went into A&E and they said, look, we think it might be this, but we need you to go to the GP to get that checked out. Have you ever had surgery? Yes, plenty of surgeries. I think 12 in total now, with another one on the horizon and maybe another further one actually. So yes, I've had 12 surgeries with an upcoming foot operation which I'm not sure when will happen at the moment, and then a potential gallbladder removal surgery coming up maybe. Do you take any medication? Yes, I take a lot of medication to manage my chronic illnesses and my disability and just my health in general. I have no qualms with talking about medication. I know some people are a bit shy about it, but the way that I see it is I'm very open about my life and medication is a part of me trying to handle it all. So I don't see why it should be something that people should be ashamed of, because at the end of the day they're there to help you. So I take pregabalin and I take one in the morning, one in the night time. I also take mirtazapine, which I was prescribed it for my mental health, but it's actually kind of helped with my chronic illness. And because chronic illness and mental health play off each other sometimes, it's kind of had a bit of a double whammy effect on me. So yeah, I take mirtazapine on a night time and it helps with my racing thoughts, my mood swings. You know, it's been pretty good with handling that for me. But because of the nature of it, I don't know why, but for some reason, like they told me this at the doctor when I was getting prescribed it, it actually helps people sleep. And when I went to see my rheumatologist, he was like, well, if you're getting more sleep, that will help not only with your chronic illness but with your mental health. And it's kind of, you know, a double whammy of a medication, and I have found that it really helps me. If I can't sleep, then I get groggy, my mental health goes down the toilet, and my pain flares up. So it's been a very good medication for me to start taking. I also take vitamin D tablets, and I've been told that I'll be on them for life now because of my chronic illness. What else do I take? I take the pill, I take microgynon for my contraception. I also get prescribed ibuprofen and cocodamol to help manage with my pain. The ibuprofen is for the swelling of my muscles and my joints. I started to get prescribed that due to the costochondritis, and that's just there to help manage that. And then the cocodamol is for when the pain gets a bit too unbearable, but I don't want to mess with my dosage of my other medication. What do you wish people knew about chronic illness? I think the main one, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is it's not all in our heads. People seem to think that because you can't see a physical problem, that means that you're not suffering. When in actual fact, a lot of the time when I'm having a flare, when I'm having a period of intense pain or whatever, it is quite physical and you can see it. But people don't see that. They only see a snippet of yourself, which tends to be the best version of you because you can manage to go see people that day. But they don't see the rest of it behind the scenes, and people can't make that connection between the version they see and the version that is reality. And I think people need to learn that just because you don't see that side of you, it doesn't mean it's not there. Who knows about your illnesses? Everybody. Again, same with my medication. I don't care who knows about it, because at the end of the day, it's a part of me. And especially in moments of flares or when I'm having a particularly hard week, month, whatever, I don't shy away from talking about it. My Instagram is all about my chronic illness. Follow if you're not already, shameless plug. If you shy away from it, people won't get educated, so you're more likely to face judgment and things like that. How does your illness affect your life? My illnesses impact every single part of my daily life, from planning my week ahead, as much as my plans can completely change from what I've planned, but I have to make sure things are spaced out nice enough so that I'm not going to trigger a flare. Or my food shopping habits have changed quite drastically because I can't cut fruit and veg safely on my own. Now I have to buy pre-cut veg just to eliminate that and help with my symptoms. Also, utensils, I have to get hard gripped ones. Things like that I don't think people see, because it's such small changes that it impacts, but it makes such a difference to us. If you could say one thing to yourself when you first got ill, what would it be? I thought quite a lot about this, and there's so many different things that I would probably say, but if I have to choose one, I'd probably say things do get better with time. And I'm not talking about the illness itself, because that's so unpredictable, but I'm talking about the judgments that you face with people. When you're first diagnosed or when you first experience symptoms, you do get a lot of judgment thrown your way. You know, you're lazy, you just can't be bothered. All of these things do go away after time, and people start taking you a little bit more seriously. Not that they should be doing that in the first place, but it happens, unfortunately. Also, with the doctors, for example, it's a hard road getting diagnosed with a chronic illness, and the more you persevere, the slowly but surely they start taking you seriously. But once you've crossed that initial barrier of getting diagnosed, it's a bit easier to talk about it with a doctor. The fear of talking to medical professionals never go away, because there's always that feeling in the back of your head where you're like, they still might not take me seriously after all this time. And unfortunately, again, that does happen too, but you've just got to persevere. And I say that to my younger self, or anybody who's watching who is going through this process of getting diagnosed, is just persevere. It's so draining, but it will be worth it once you get a result. Do you have any unexplained symptoms? Yes, plenty. I said that a bit too excitedly, didn't I? No, I do have quite a lot of unexplained symptoms which do not fit into that fibromyalgia category, let's say. I don't know if I mentioned it in my fibromyalgia diagnosis story, but I had the routine tests of the iron, the UTI tests, those ones. But with fibromyalgia, it's a diagnosis that they give you once they've ruled everything in between out. And I feel like I had missed that part. So I had like the first lot of basic tests with the iron and the B12 and that, but I didn't get all of the other ones to rule out any other health conditions. It's like I jumped forward then from those basic tests to that diagnosis. I feel like now I've realised this a lot more, especially lately, that maybe I should have pushed for those in-between bits to get done before I accepted that diagnosis. A lot of the symptoms that I'm getting now could possibly line up with some of these in-between diagnoses that may have been missed, if that makes sense. I won't go into all of my unexplained symptoms because quite frankly we'll be here all day, but I did do a video talking about some of them and I'll link that down below. What hobbies do you have as a result of your chronic illness? While everybody is different, I know that for me, when I'm having a particularly bad flare-up, my hands swell and I can find it pretty hard to move my fingers quite easily. So it's been quite hard to find new hobbies which cater for when I'm really ill, because let's be honest, I'd rather just be in bed and just watch telly. In between, I've found a couple of hobbies which, you know, keep me going throughout the day when I've got nothing else to do. My YouTube channel, for example, is one of my hobbies. It can be quite draining doing YouTube videos because it's not just a case of set the camera up and talk for a bit. It's the I have to put my makeup on, I have to sort my hair out, I have to pick an outfit, then I have to sit and film or script my videos, and then I have to edit it, upload it, schedule social media posts, and do all of that twice a week. I love it, and for me it's worth it because this is kind of like my outlet, but it can be quite hard to keep up sometimes. Another hobby that I found as a result of my chronic illness is scrapbooking. I've always kind of collected photos and I love taking pictures when I'm out and about, but it's only been in the last year, I believe, where I've actually sat down and started putting them into albums and, you know, making it all look cute and stuff. So I've completed one album, I've started the next, but I'm gonna start doing like a wedding journal as well. But I need to buy like the bits and pieces for that. But I have all the photos here. I just need to sort it all out really. Another hobby that I love as a result of it is reading. Reading can be quite a tricky one sometimes because, again, with my hands it could be hard to hold the book open, or sometimes if my brain is just not working that day, it can be hard to take in the information that I'm reading. But when I'm having like a bit more of a mild flare, or my standard day-to-day stuff, I do love to read. Do you consider chronic illness as a disability? Yes, I do. I know sometimes at the start of my videos I say that I talk about chronic illness and disability separate, but that's only for the purpose of me, I suppose. To go into that a little bit, it's basically because I have had a disability all my life, and sometimes it can get a bit confusing for me when I've started talking about them both. So yeah, I kind of do label my lifelong disability as that's what's made me disabled, but then my chronic illness has also made me disabled, but in a different way. And it's just easier for me to keep those two labels separate. But going back to the question, yes, chronic illness is a disability. Chronic illness can be so debilitating to people. People lose their jobs over it, people become housebound over it. People can't leave the house safely on their own because of a chronic illness. So yes, chronic illness is a disability. If you could change one thing about your chronic illness, what would it be? If I want to answer this in short, it would just be to not have it. But then that's kind of like a cheat answer, I guess. My answer to that question would probably be that it would be nice if I had a bit more warning to when flare-ups turn up. I could do the same thing every single day, but get different results. So I wish there was a bit more structure to it. I could wake up, put my makeup on, do all the housework, do all these bits and pieces, and repeat that for 7 days in a row and possibly get 7 different results. I don't get why that works, and I don't get any of it, but that's just how it is. When you're in a flare-up, do you prefer to be alone or with company? In some ways I prefer to be alone because I don't really like people seeing me like that. Obviously Mike is used to seeing me in that way, but even then I'm still a bit uncomfortable with it sometimes, but there's no really getting around that because we live together. But then it's always nice having him in the front room so that if I need help with anything, he can come and give me a hand, or just to have a talk or a cry to. So it depends on how I'm feeling, I think. So that brings us to the end of the time. Let me know what you think, and if you want you can play along with me and answer the questions yourself down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up button if you want to see more from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!